So in this video, we're going to go through and we're going to add and subtract some rational expressions. And so just some thoughts that you might want to write down on your note card. Get a common denominator when you're adding and subtracting. You don't need that for multiplying and dividing, but adding and subtracting, just like regular fractions that you did in 5th grade, 6th grade, 7th grade, 8th grade, you have to get a common denominator first. So let's look at this first one. It says 7 over 2x plus 5 plus 6 over 2x plus 5. Well, is the denominator the same? Yep. So then I just add across the top. So 7 plus 6 is 13, all over 2x plus 5, and done. Woo, woo. Just a quick thought, the bottom x can't be negative 5 halves. So look at that for a second, see if you can find the pattern. Why is it negative 5 halves? All right, next thing, I'm going to go on to the right here, and super important that you see that it's a minus. Oftentimes, if it wasn't already in common denominators, which it is, if it was not common denominators, I would make that into plus and negative just so I wouldn't lose the negative sign. And so I'll show you that on the one that's down below it, but we're not there yet. So right now, is the denominator the same? The answer is yes. So since it's x squared minus 16, I can just keep that on the bottom, and then on the top I get x minus 4. Now a lot of people would be like, woohoo, I'm done. Oh, no, you are not. Because look, x squared and 16. That should send up a ding, 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 ding in your head. And you should think, oh, wait, 16. That looks familiar. It's on the clock at 4. So this actually gives me x minus 4 all over x plus 4, x minus 4. Put parentheses around this, and you might say to yourself, hey, look, stuff cancels. Yes. And so then a bunch of people come up with the x plus 4 for the answer. But what is left on the top? Do not forget what's on the top. It's 1. Got it. I will tell you right now that the bottom could not, I know that x could not be 4 or negative 4. You might have written them in the opposite order. That's fine. But I get that because if x was 4, 4 squared minus 16 would be 0, and negative 4 all squared minus 16 would be 0 as well. All right, let's move down a little bit. 5 over 6x to the 4th plus 3 over 5x squared. So this one, do they have a common denominator yet? No, they don't. So I've got to figure out what it is. So between 6 and 5, what's your common denominator for 6 and 5? You got it. So your least common denominator is going to be 30-something. Then this one right here has x, so 4x to the 4th, and this has x squared. Okay, so what is the smallest amount of x's you can have? It's going to be x to the 4th. You're like, but no, it's x squared. No. Like, what is the smallest thing they can both go into? Could you do x to the 6th? Yes, but that would be way harder than it needs to be. We want least common denominator. So I've got this. I've already got the 4x's in there. So what am I going to multiply the left by? I'm going to multiply that by 5. And if I multiply the bottom by 5, I have to multiply the top by 5. So I get 25 all over 60x to the 4th. Plus, what do I have to multiply in over here? Well, I only have 2 x's, so I need 2 more. And I need the 6. So up here times 6x squared gives me 18x squared all over 30x to the 4th. Okay. Oh, not 30. Oh, it is 30. So what was my mistake in the blue one? Yeah, were you thinking, Beaver, what are you doing? That should have been 30. Because 5 times 6 is 30. Okay, let's see. Now, can I actually add the 25 and the 18x squared? I can't. They just have to sit next to each other, or I can't, like, combine them. The best I can do is 18x squared plus 25. You always write them in standard form, which means the thing with the biggest exponent comes first. So that's why I put the 18x squared first, and then the plus 25. And I can do that. This is positive and this is positive. There's no negative signs even in there. All over 30x to the fourth. Now you might say to yourself, can't I like cancel down that 25 and 30? No, you can't, because of the plus. All right, last one. This one is probably the most challenging. First off, I see this right here, that minus sign. Do you see how the denominators are not common? Because they're not alike, I'm going to make this into a plus and make that into a -2. Otherwise, you're going to lose that negative. You're going to lose the minus somewhere. So now I look at the bottom. I've got x plus 5 and I've got x minus 1. That means my least common denominator is going to be x plus 5 times x minus 1. I cannot make that into like x squared plus 4 or anything like that. No, you can't. They're already, like this is just, they're in parentheses, so you can't add them or subtract them. You just have to multiply them to get a common denominator. So if that's the case, right here I see I already have the x plus 5 in the first one. So I'm going to have to multiply in the x minus 1. And I'm going to do that up on the top as well. So now if I think x minus 1 times 3, what's that property? Got it. So that's going to give me 3x minus 3. And it's going to be all over x minus 1 times x plus 5. Now I change this to a plus sign. So I've got my plus sign. Now up here I have a -2 and I have x minus 1 on the bottom. What do I have to multiply in? I don't have the x plus 5. I have to do that to the top and the bottom. Now distribute that -2 through, so I get -2x minus 10. It's the minus 10 that a lot of people would miss because from right here, I made that into plus, moved the negative up here so I didn't lose it. Okay, all over x minus 1 times x plus 5. Now I can combine like terms. So I come up here, I'm going to grab my highlighter. I've got 3 x's plus -2 x's. What does that give me when I put them together? It gives me just 1x. Then I'm going to come back, grab maybe a different highlighter. -3, -10. What does that give me? That gives me -13. All over x minus 1 times x plus 5. There you go. That's my final solution. X can't be +1. X can't be -5. So again, the weird thing about these is that you don't get an actual number solution like you have for most of your life. You just get an algebraic rational expression. So I can't simplify out any of those x's, and that just is my final solution for now. There you go. Hope that helps with adding and subtracting rational expressions.